you and I both know that AI is the engine. Fundamentally, it's going to uplift every American, every aspect of an American's lives. And I think we both feel that very deeply, right? The challenge, of course, right now is that 3/4 of Americans fear AI. Those are the numbers right now. 71% of Americans oppose data centers near their homes, which is a larger percentage than object to nuclear power plants in their neighborhood, which is insane. So I guess, one of my missions is helping people see the optimistic future, reduce fear. So I guess the question is, how does the administration get out in front of this? Why is there so much resistance? How do we demystify AI? What's the conversation going on around those concerns?
Yeah. AI has a massive PR problem.
Yeah.
And I think the AI companies realize that. I think everyone that's sort of adjacent to or orthogonal to the AI industry realizes that. And it's a problem. I mean, you and I know and do deeply believe in our core of what great things, AI can do, and bring to everyday American lives. But, I think back first off of how did we get here? And I think back actually to the first AI safety summit that was held by the UK government in Bletchley Park 2 years ago under
way back 2 years ago.
Way back. Yeah, this is, I don't know, was it 2-3 years ago? It's all sort of blurring. I think it was maybe the year after ChatGPT came out. And I think what was so fascinating about that when I attended it, the entire concept of it was wrapped around fear associated with AI. What could go wrong?
Yeah.
And we collectively, as the smartest people in the world and the most important government leaders, must come together to make sure that these harms don't impact the world around us. And I think that's an example that the narrative for so long coming from government prior to President Trump has been so fixated on the negative impacts of this technology. Of course people are skeptical. If the only thing they're hearing from politicians and from people in industry is that, there's going to be a bunch of job losses and everything is dangerous and maybe there's going to be bio risk. I think those are the things that people get worked up, and it shouldn't surprise us that the PR is bad. So I think for us, you ask kind of a positive take on it. I think we try to look for areas where Americans actually connect with AI in a positive sense. And I think by far what we have seen, it's in the healthcare domain.
Sure.
And that's where if we can actually show the impact in changing the way that individuals themselves get healthcare, their families get healthcare. I mean, those are the places where I think you can start to push back a little bit on that narrative.
Is there any effort to try and change the narrative from I guess from a centralized sense, right? It kills me that the narrative in China is the flip of that, where 80% are pro AI, and I just want to get out and shout from the rooftops. You have to understand what's going on. Where does that responsibility lie? Probably in the AI labs, for sure. But does the administration have a place in that as well?
I think the government can serve as a convener to bring to the surface all the great stories that are going on around this industry. And I think sometimes we think about AI in a little too narrow of a sense. AI is having this dramatic impact in manufacturing, in hiring across the country, in this
100%.
These huge build outs that are happening for everything that's sort of supporting the AI industry. These are great stories. I mean, I just heard from Jensen was here and he was talking about kind of the supply chain that supports NVIDIA. He said that the order that he's put into Corning for the chips that he's going to be building in the future is the largest sort of order in the history of Corning, and they're going to be producing more than they ever have in history just because of his order.
It's lifting up the entire GDP of the nation in an extraordinary fashion.
And those are the stories that should be told. I mean, factories are being built, people are being hired, stuff is being produced, and I think those are the things that I think can connect with Americans.
One of the biggest fears is AI-related job loss.
Yeah.
And AI-related loss of incoming jobs. And, I report on this on Moonshots every week or so as part of the conversations we're having. And it's confusing because there's a lot of people who are putting forward data. Yes, there's job loss. Yes, there's these layoffs. And others who are feeling like, no, we're going to see more job creation like we've seen with every technology so far. Do you have a sense of this? Do you have a sense of what you believe is?
I mean, personally, I believe kind of in the long term, I'm very optimistic about the impact that AI is going to have on jobs. I think we've been thinking about this problem, or I have, since the first Trump administration, where kind of the narrative around AI was around automation, and there was fears about all this automation related job loss. And if you even fast forward through that period, that was never realized, and only employment has increased. But I do think it's something we have to think about. And I think we've put in some programs that start to hit at this problem. One of the things that I think that even you mentioned your problem is the data around what is actually happening is not very good. Yeah. And I think we're trying to launch an initiative at our Department of Labor that was actually called for in the AI Action Plan, where we want to start collecting better data on the impact that AI is having on the labor force. So you can collect data from players that typically don't submit their data to department, and through there you can actually start making the right decisions on where to do better reskilling, retraining, and where to sort of do more targeted labor assistance programs.
I remember one of the conversations we had in Miami over lunch at the FII Summit was the idea of sort of a parachute program where you incentivize companies, if they are doing an AI-related layoff, to give the employees who are letting go a AI upskilling so that they get trained into that environment. Do you think something like that might materialize?
You know, I think every company will think about it differently. I do think opportunities like that are interesting. You know, I'm still trying to wrap my head around what an AI related job loss even really means. Yeah. I think like a lot of folks these days, like when they're doing a layoff that they would have done anyway, just like to assign it or blame it to AI because it plays better in the
and their stock price goes up if they are, producing more revenue with fewer people.
Precisely. Yeah.
So on the notion of fear, because it's one of the things I'm always trying to quelch and address, right? Because fear is an awful place to face the future from, especially at the speed of change. And people don't understand AI enough to understand its implications on their lives. We just launched this year something called the Future Vision X Prize. So it's the world's largest film competition for creators to create a film that shows a hopeful, positive vision of the future, where technology and AI is working together. Because part of the challenge for me is that, films like Terminator, Ex Machina, Black Mirror, majority of all the sci-fi films out there are dystopian. And if that's what we're teaching the average American, like this is what happens when you have robots and AI. So I guess my question along those lines are, do you have sort of a longer term compelling vision of what you think America could be like on the back of this AI revolution, beyond just better health care from AI, which is low hanging fruit, agreed.
Of course, yeah.
Does that future visioning happen here?
I mean, we think about it more in the terms of national missions, which I think we'll kind of talk a little bit about in Golden Age. And I think what my general take is, we as a government need to be opinionated about what the most important things are for the future of our nation. And there was an era, beginning with the Manhattan Project, going through Apollo, that we had big ideas. We had bold things that
and national pride around them.
And now, exactly. And it motivated young people to go into science. And we were looking at a North Star of something that a lot of people thought couldn't be done, but we did it. And I think there are places where we can do more of that. An example of that is all of the space-related efforts that you, I think, talked to Administrator Isaacson and Jared about very recently. I mean, we're putting man back on the moon in 28. We're going to be able to build the first elements of a lunar base by 30. We're going to put a nuclear reactor in space by 28. I mean, that's crazy. Yeah. If you told someone we're going to put a nuclear reactor in space that has enough propulsion power to send folks to Mars in the next year and a half, that's nuts. Yeah. But we're going to do it because we're Americans and we can accomplish that. And that's so special.